Okay, here's the original steering column, or steering linkage, whatever you call this piece. It attaches up near the firewall. The way GM designed these, if you see that little hole there, and there's another one right there. Those are little nylon rods that go through here. So see how this part is slips into this part here. The upper half slips in. So if you were in a wreck and your chest crashed into the steering wheel, this would slam down, and those two little nylon pins here we go, here and here, they would break, and this would go into the steering column, or this would collapse into this one. So I think that came out in 69 or 70, something like that. But these are easy to restore. Right in here there's a little, you can't really see it, but I'm going to have to clean this one up. There we go, you can see just the top of it right here. See that little metal piece right there? Let's see. That little metal piece right there is a spring, and it actually goes all the way around, but you can stick a screwdriver in there and pop that spring out, and then this piece will slide out. That spring holds the boot in there, and let me see if I can pop that out on camera. It's kind of tricky to do, so I doubt I'll be able to do it on camera, but I'll try. Alright, let's see if I can hold this one in hand. There we go, put a screwdriver on there. Oh, no, not going to be able to do that with one hand holding the camera. Anyway, you put a screwdriver on there and you press down real hard, and you can pop out the little tab of that spring, and then this column will slide out. And there's a part number for this boot that you can order. I think it's actually off of a Jeep, and it's the same boot. So you can take this out, clean it all up, repack all this with grease, put a new boot on there. And then here, I don't know if there's a, there we go. See that little clip that goes right around here? There it is, you can see it. That clip holds the boot in place. And you can order those. They still make those as reproduction clips. You can get them on eBay. But anyway, so you see what it looks like now. I'm going to clean it up, pop the spring out, repack it with grease, put a new boot on there, and reuse this steering column. Okay, I just went off camera and popped this spring out. What I did, I pressed, see if you can see, I pressed down in this slot, and you can see I was able to push out this spring. And this spring, see how it has a little tab there? See a little bevel tab that goes into that slot. So now that the spring's out, and it also presses in on the other side here. I had to scrape this old grimy boot. Had to scrape it out so I could then pull this housing off the steering shaft. Now, what you'll see here when you pull it out is this little, I think it's called a universal joint. So you can see that side fell off there, and this piece comes out there, and then you have this retainer pin here. So that retainer pin slides over like that, and what that does, if you see the retainer pin has little beveled edges like that, it holds this little guy in place, the beveled edges. See the beveled edges hold it in place so it can pivot. This will just press straight out. You know, use a press like this and get it centered there and just press it out. And once you press it out, you can then put on a new grease boot and of course clean this up really well and repack it with grease. I like to use the Lucas red and tacky stuff. That's what it's called, red and tacky. But you just pack it all up and assemble these pieces back together, and it just slides back in there. Now be careful when you're pulling this out and using the press. Remember, there's those two nylon pins in here, so you don't want to be, you know, pulling really hard or pushing really hard on these two pieces, because you don't want to break those pins. So it's best, if you're going to hold anything, hold it up here by the end that you're working with. Don't hold it back here, because going back and forth you could bust those pins. Okay, this is how I press out the pin. Basically, I go ahead and just press the pin out until it's flush with the steering shaft. I guess that's what you call it. But once it's flush and I can't press it anymore, I just get a bolt that's a little smaller than the hole. And see if I can record this. By the way, I wear eye protection. I just wear a little face mask while I'm doing this in case it's not perfectly straight, and when I start pressing, that bolt flies out. It's never happened to me, but just in case, that's what I do. So you can see that just presses the pin right out. Alright, so there's our pin. I cleaned up the spring and the two other pieces. I'll just put that in there. There's the parts to the steering. Okay, here's after everything is been cleaned up. See, there's the original steering shaft, steering column, whatever you call it. Then there's the pin we pressed out. Alright guys, here's the new boot from Summit. Part number is OMX 180-181. Well, I'm not sure how far I got in the last video, but here is the completed intermediate shaft. You can see it's been cleaned up very nicely, and there's a new boot on there, and it's been repacked with grease. And it looks brand new. That's how you restore a intermediate shaft. You can see the little clip is put back in there. Let's see if I can get it to focus here. A little clip runs right along there. You can see the tip of it popping out right there, and that's what holds the boot in there. Anyway, thanks for watching.